Shehzad, Poonawalla, since you did that big aggressive press conference on the issue of the paid article by the Aam Aadmi Party on the front page of the New York Times, that was your charge. The New York Times responds to that, saying that this is, according to them, a journalistic endeavor. This is not paid news, and the fact that the Khalij Times has carried this is nothing of great concern, because this is pretty standard. When a publication like the New York Times does an article, there are several newspapers the world over that carry what the New York Times does. This is through a proper arrangement. It's not as if it's some Khalistani conspiracy, which is what the BJP seems to be alleging. So let's start from there. Shehzad, Poonawalla, welcome.
Thank you very much. ABCD is the manner of Aam Aadmi Party. A for advertising, B for blaming, C for cover-up of corruption, and D for deviation. And therefore, we've seen them use this fig leaf and trying to deviate from the real issue of the liquor scam, on which 15 questions have been posed and none have been answered. But having said so, let me answer this question at the forefront. First of all, I don't think this country or anybody here or people of Delhi need a certificate from New York Times, especially with their orientation, to give us or let us know about how...
No, that's a different matter. I'm only on the question of whether this is paid news or not, which is what the BJP alleged, where the New York Times is saying this is our article based on the ground reportage. This has got nothing to do with political or advertiser influence. This, according to them, for good or bad, is impartial on-ground reporting, and education is an issue that the NYT covers over many years.
Okay, Rahul, it would be a waste of time to use your show for this, but anyways, let me give you some more facts. On 16th of August, the similar article has been published in 3 very shady websites. Okay, one is called Local Public, the other is called Pakki Khabar, and the third is called News Next Desk. This is where it's been published. Then it gets surreptitiously carried by New York Times by an author whose political inclinations and views on Hindus and other things are well known. That's not the point here. The point is that we don't need the New York Times to tell us about how these schools are functioning, because 500 new schools had been promised. None have been delivered. If they can name those 300 schools or 400 schools they built, 700 schools have a principal missing. The NCPCR has issued a notice. The Delhi High Court has said about how there are no teachers, 40,000 teaching positions are vacant, guest teachers have not been filled, how there are 40,000 EWS seats which have not been filled. So this is the reality of Delhi schools. Just by spending money on advertising does not cut the bill. But today, why are they going on to this? They are going on to this because they have no answers to give on the liquor scam. They keep saying this is vendetta politics. Rahul, just bear with me for 30 more seconds. Here are 3 court orders against Satyendra Jain, whom they also declared as a Kattar Imandar. The lower court said there's prima facie sufficient evidence that there is money laundering done by Satyendra Jain. There's a High Court order of 2019 August which says that he did money laundering, and there's a 2022 High Court order where Satyendra Jain has been said to be a person of criminal background, and Mr. Kejriwal should decide whether he can be retained in the cabinet. Yet, for the last 2.5 months, Satyendra Jain gets no relief from courts. Obviously, the courts are not vindictive. And
okay, so we leave Satyendra Jain on the side for the time being and focus on this big liquor scam, or the so-called liquor scam, where the charges are that a waiver of 144.36 crores was given to a liquor cartel on a license fee tender. The LG says this would have resulted in kickbacks and commissions, which the CBI is now probing. It's been alleged that the cabinet was not kept in the loop. Sisodia was given authority and permission to tweak the policy. The LG flagged this issue as being wrong. Ultimately, the Aam Aadmi Party realized it was in trouble and therefore went back to the original policy. All of this taken together, while the CBI will need to go through this investigation, but prima facie seems to suggest that dal mein ya liquor mein kuch kala hai. Reena Gupta.
Rahul, this is nothing new. This vendetta politics of Bharatiya Janata Party has been going on against Aam Aadmi Party since the time we got elected, Rahul. You would remember they raided the Chief Minister's residence. They found 3-4 old mufflers. They have raided Mr. Manish Sisodia also in the past. Each time there is a raid. When they raided Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, they said, "बहुत बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार निकला है जी, सबको हम अंदर कर देंगे." What happened? Nothing happened. 150 cases against our MLAs. Most of those MLAs have been let go. All the cases have been dropped. In fact, the courts have come out very heavily against the Delhi police, saying that this is vendetta politics. So the point that I'm trying to make, Rahul, this is nothing new. Aam Aadmi Party, Mr. Kejriwal is becoming very popular all over the country. and Bharatiya Janata Party is rattled with our increasing graph.